Today I'm going to talk about the Sun in Libra, Natal and transit. So, the Sun has recently ingressed into Libra, and I find that to be a good time to talk about the archetype of the Sun in Libra in general in your chart. And now, of course, you would also need to know which house is your luminary in or your planet in, because that would give you the field of life where it is expressed the most. And Sun. The Sun basically takes 364 days, around 364 days to go across the zodiac. So, from our vantage point, in terms of the cosmos, the Sun is actually the constant of the galaxy, although it does move, but it doesn't circle anything. It's the center. It's that luminary which the planets circle around. And even though it was not always known that we also, as planet Earth, circle around the Sun, the Sun had very deep importance to our cultures across the board. So there were sun worshipping religions or cultures, Helios, yeah, the sun, or the goddess of the sun. Sun is considered young, is considered masculine in its energy. It's warm and hot, but it holds its fire. In terms of more traditional perspective on astrology, it in the zodiac it is signifying our paternal caregiver. So that could be the father or the person who would be our more masculine role model. It can also be the mother or the aspect of that parent um, who was an authority figure in your life. Um, Sun is also considered a part of the personality. So it is very much pronounced in sun sign astrology when we don't have the exact birth time. So some people revert to counting the houses from the sun. And so we got the birth of sun sign astrology, and this is how, when somebody would ask you what your sign is, and let's say your sun in Libra, you would say Libra rather than saying your ascendant sign, which is much more personal to your life path. In traditional astrology, some believe that only the ruler of the ascendant is actually the native, and then the sun would be the father, the caregiver, more the patriarch in the society, along with Saturn. And so uh, the sun in your horoscope can denote the personality and your relation with the fatherly figures in your life. Um, if you were born with the sun above the horizon, so from houses, sun in house 7 above the horizon, above the descendant, to 12th or 1st, depending on the house division that you use, until the ascendant, that would make you a day chart, and that would mean that the archetype of the sun is more pronounced in your chart. Alternatively, you might want to look at my moon series, Moon Across the Zodiac, because you would be more affected by the moon than the sun. Um, so this is the sun. Now, another facet about the sun and its being yang is constant and confidence, because the sun rises every day, depending on what part of, if you live in Sweden, that might be very weird to you, because you have 6 months where the sun does not set. Um, but if you live in regions where the sun shines every day and goes down every night, sets every night, then you have the confidence that the sun will shine tomorrow. It is that constant, poof. It is that constant in your life. And indeed, the energy of the masculine is supposed to serve as a constant in your life. Something that is consistent. The sun shines consistently. Okay, it also rules Leo, a fixed fire sign. Okay, exalts in Aries, um, which is a cardinal fire sign. So this is for the sun. It it generates its own light, and it shines on others. So unlike the moon, which reflects the light of the other luminary of the sun. Okay, so it generates its own light, its own energy, and shines on others. So confidence, being the center of the show, leadership, yeah, the king or the queen of the kingdom. That's the sun, and in the sun, when we practice the sun, we basically practice being the king or queen of our kingdom. Okay, this is where we decide what our kingdom is, and we are the ruler of our kingdom. This is why it is the personality. How do we rule? How do we lead our lives? Where we express ourselves. Libra. So, Libra is cardinal air sign. It is um, basically a sign that has to do with um, balancing and harmonizing different different facets of existence. It is ruled by Venus, and so we get the sense that harmonizing interests is involved when Libra is involved. Um, it rules the philosophical aspect of aesthetics and morality and business. So professions like the lawyer, um, the business person, or even the person who manages the wealth of people. It can also be a politician, a diplomat, um, and it rules the kidneys. Okay, and what do we know about balance? Balance is something that is dynamic. We constantly need to balance. It's constant work. And so relaxation can be difficult to come by. There is the need to meet the needs and desires of the surroundings, or alternatively, to bring about the balance by controlling our surroundings. And this is the shadow facet of Libra. Um, so the sun in this place, if you think about the sun as the center of something, and Libra as the place where we need to constantly balance something. Okay, think about the sun ruling Leo, ruling the heart. Um, so, and then the kidneys. Okay, so the sun in Libra is basically reaching a place that is um, not so natural. It's not so natural for the luminary that is the center of the galaxy, which job is to generate energy and shine, to be in a position where they're supposed, their job in this house is to balance. Everybody who enters the house of Libra um, needs to be a part of a certain cosmic order. And there is no, there, when we think about balance, think about the scales, it's not a hierarchical place. So you bring the sun into a position where it has to be, it must be put on one part of the scales. Imagine you are the luminary. You reach the house of Libra. It's like think of the zodiac as this Luna Park, and every sign has its own house, its own traits. The sun, you go to Leo. You're the center of the universe. Then to Libra, and you reach the house of Libra, and you open the door, and there are scales, and the instructions are that you must put yourself on one side of the scale. But how are you even going to compare anything to the sun? How are you going to balance anything with the sun if you put the sun on just one part of the scale? Should the sun jump constantly from one part to the other part of the scale? There's just one sun, okay? Um, but Libra doesn't acknowledge that. Libra is about balancing things. And if you come in to this house, then you need to find your place so that you um, blend in with the cosmos, with everything that's in the house. You need to blend in. And you need to find where are you complementary. Okay, then you bring the sun. Okay, if I take this off, then this dress is yellow. Okay? Where do you put your yellow stuff? Who came in with this yellow dress? And I always like it how there is something that is always fitting when I shoot a video about a certain energy. So I shot the moon, I was with this yellow dress, and now there's something covering this yellow dress. It's less dominant. Okay? And um, the sun is just not feeling at home in Libra. Okay? Um, and how is the sun going to take on this challenge? How are you going to shine, to have your shine through the means of the place where everything has to be balanced and put up against something? How are you ever going to be right in this place where your natural tendency, or the ego, which is also the sun, the ego, is to have your needs met, to generate energy and to shine on others, to inspire, to be seen, to be noticed, to be admired, to be worshipped? And how you're going to do that through the means of this place where the rules are that everything has to be in balance and harmony, and you must contribute to making things balanced and harmonized. And so one way is to take on the role of the person who balances the things, to take off the role of, the lawyer, the business person, or the person who does trade, okay, the broker. Um, the person who is in charge of the complexion of arranging things, the general, okay? But the general in the sense of the general of the production of a movie, okay? And um, this job, if your way to shine is through being, the judge, think of Judge Judy. I don't know her chart, but I would not be surprised if there's Libra Sun there. Um, then really think of Judge Judy. Her job is to decide what is, to put things on the scales and to decide who is right. To verdict, to judgment. Which is very entertaining. Okay, it's very entertaining to watch her. She shines by the means of bringing order. And it is the unique way in which she does that makes us want to watch Judge Judy. It's both the enjoying things being put into order, and also the enjoying the execution of the skill of judgment, the execution of the skill of the scales that makes us really enjoy watching Judge Judy. Another figure that actually has a stellium in Libra, Beyonce. I know she says, I'm a Virgo, Sun is in Virgo, but she has a stellium in Libra. And most of the content of her songs is about giving the verdict about relationships. Okay? And we enjoy the aesthetics of it. So, and with the Sun in Libra, it could be that, again, that this Libra personality, this judgment personality, was actually one of your parents or your father. And so it is growing into an atmosphere where the balance is an intellectual challenge, a constant intellectual challenge. And another thing that is very true to the kidneys, to Libra, to the scales, it is a dynamic balance. And when you put a luminary there, like the sun, it magnifies the need to balance things. Because with the moon, balancing is self-nourishing. But with the sun, balancing is a part of your identity. If you've got nothing left to do, you feel useless. And this is also true in politics. Okay? If you've got nothing left to change, then what is your job? If everything is in place, in order, what is your job? So your identity, and this is not only self-nourishment, there are malnourished people walking in the world, but take a part of someone's identity and they fight for it. This is in medicine, one of the things that we deal with the most is to make sure that the ailment does not become a part of someone's identity. which is why there is such a big moral challenge with identity related medical conditions. Okay, if you say somebody is even narcissist, okay, and I was guilty of this too because I was recovering from unhealthy relationship dynamics, and the wording I had was narcissistic abuse. But you say someone is a narcissist, you give them the identity of something. If they accept it, this is now a part of their identity. Okay, with the sun in Libra, a part of your identity, part of your personality, part of who you are, is the person who balances things. And so you might find that you can be a person who give consultation to people on how to manage their financial situation, how to get out of debt, and you might find yourself actually being very challenged by keeping a good balance, a good financial balance, because you constantly need to balance things. I'm not saying there is no solution to that, but this is one of the things that can happen. This is also where the people pleasing tendency is coming from, because everything needs to be balanced, and your identity is the person that balances things. But where are you in this? It's something that challenges your ability to have an identity. And then if you are the person who balances things, if you are the person who judges things, then you might judge your career, first of all, might become a part of your identity. And so you can be very intelligent, very professional in your field, simply because your your psychological well-being is reliant on your having an identity, and it's very difficult to say, who am I if I enter this room and I need to change my colors, I enter that room and I need to change my colors. This is also why this is the sign of the diplomat, because a diplomat can make a good use. If I enter this room and I need to change my language and change my mannerism and change my colors, and then I enter that room and I change my mannerism and I blend in with, or alternatively, you might feel that if you represent, if you're actually doing diplomacy and you go to another country, you might feel more nationalistic or more patriotic when you are abroad than when you are in your country, because suddenly you identify, you're different in the view, and you have an identity. Okay, and then your identity blends in, it represents, because you need to have a certain sort of separateness to create a certain sort of connection, and that might be difficult to come by. If at every moment you need to change yourself dynamically, it's very difficult to decide who you are, what you want, um, and so on and so forth. And this is where we get the indecision that is so um, stereotypical of Libra personalities. You might find a person who is a judge at the Supreme Court, but you ask him, what do you want to eat for dinner? And they're like, taking time to do that. But then if you face them with a choice of something, then they can go um, and counter that. So, because they need to balance something, they would be, what do you eat? You want to eat a salad? No, I like a pasta. Okay, and that's something that's actually useful, because when they have someone that makes a decision, then they have to counter it, and now they know what they want. Um, that is quite Lacanian definition. I haven't done Lacan's chart, and I will. But that's quite a Lacanian definition of an identity. So, kidneys might need attention, so breathing into the kidneys can be a very centering practice for anything in Libra, because air sign, and then we connect the air with the body and with the organ that this sign rules. We balance it with the breathing, and then we can think in more clarity. We can define things with more clarity. It won't necessarily help you to define yourself in more clarity, um, but if you can go into the body and experience the body through breathing and have this mental agility where you have this experience, okay, I'm breathing, these are my kidneys, these are, you know, that can bring you back to you, and you can have a definition of you that is that might seem strange to other people. You don't have to communicate it to other people, but you have an experience of you that is both dynamic and constant. So kidney breathing into the kidneys can be um, great to balance um, you, basically. And of course, you need to know what house it is the sun in, so you understand what part it plays um, in your reality. Thing about Libra is also the sign of trade. And if you think about money and survival, people are they have survival fears around money, and trade and business, and so it's very much kidney issues or lower back issues. So breathing into these areas and doing a meditation can bring you also um, into a meditative state where you can find a solution to these balance issues. If it is one of your caregivers, then no, first of all, it's both your personality and also one of the caregivers. So you could have one of the caregivers that has this has these qualities or have this um, issues of balance in your life or a people pleasing, and then you might have grown to either be countering to them, and so you can be very opinionated, um, but this underneath this strong opinionated persona there can be deep indecisiveness, deep rooted, and then when you bring your breathing back to your body and back to the kidneys and then you balance the kidneys, this is where you can get at the root of your thinking. You might still need to be a bit more responsive, but you will be able to pick your frames. For example, if you enter a room, you enter a house, when you decide to you balance, okay, when you decide you balance something, you can say I balance the people in the room. Let's say there are all men in the room and you are the only woman. Okay, another trick of thought, all of these men have yin in them. They have organs that are yin. So I'm not that much different. This is how, if you feel very different and you want to feel closer, you can tune to that. Or you can say, oh, all the furnitures here, like half of them are yellow, half of them are green. And then you spot, like a red chair in the room. So it's also picking the frame of what is it that I'm balancing. Um, that can make it more complicated, but sometimes you can revert to that when you need um, to ease things down, or you can find where are things already are balanced in this room. What is already okay in this room? What is already balanced? What is already in good shape? Okay, let's say you enter the room. The room is standing. This means that there is good balance, that the walls hold the ceiling, and there is good balance. That is okay. Notice the things that are okay, that are balanced, that are in good shape. Um, and of course, I cannot ignore the aesthetic aspect of Libra. So, yes, there is a great sense of um, balance. So, let's say Libra, Venus in Taurus is aesthetically pleasing. Yes, it is more carpal, it is more sensual. It's earth. Air, there is um, a moral aesthetics. It is not just something that bothers you in the eye, but there is a deeper reason for that. Um, a deeper thought. Not that in Taurus there isn't, but in Taurus it's like, is it comfortable for me? In Libra, it's like, is it in equity? Is it in harmony? Um, so that can make the sun, the Venus ruled sun, the one that needs to get along with people, with the environment, to be in good harmony, in good balance, in good shape, and that can be quite problematic. Um, it's not an easy place for the sun to be, uh, but then it can lead, when confronting this challenge, it can lead to an even deeper unconditional confidence in your sense of self that comes from places that um, or having gone through a certain personality crisis, or having gone through um, this not crisis, because crisis is temporary. This is constant. Okay, it's a constant state um, of something that is dynamic. Then you can eventually develop a certain sense of self that is not easily shaken, because and you think about the sign of although it is air sign, but nothing is as flexible as water, and yet nothing can resist it. So in terms of air, something so dynamic that nothing can break it. You cannot break the air. You cannot, you know, and so you can find a certain sort of sense of self and a certain sort of personality that is strong beyond belief, because you're chronically dealing with having to balance things and those despicable dissonances. um, there can be, both with the sun and the moon, there can be um, with the moon, it's the point of nourishing and the need to nourish the self. With the sun, because of the identity, the chronicle identity challenge, there can be susceptibility to relationships or people that are more dominant, or that decide for you, because you can kind of not that you would let them decide for you, but your decision is based upon them make a decision, and you're countering it. Um, so and then depending on where your moon is and how it's aspected and how is your sun aspected, there can be susceptibility to be um, even with people who might not serve your best interest, because you're because what is your self-interest, right? But also, um, whenever your identity is not, you know, so substantially, how should I say it? It's like when you don't know who you are, there can be people that will try to take advantage of that, whether consciously or not, and then you need to um, find a way where that question of who I am receives a more flexible definition, and caring for your needs. Look into your moon can be very, because it is the sun. Okay, what are you going to balance it again? The moon. Am I nourished? Am I self-nourished? Go into your moon. Place in your moon self-nourishing, and then, because whatever somebody can try to take advantage of you of, they can meet a psychological need that you have. And one psychological need is identity. Okay, to be validated, to have my identity validated, or to be given an identity. Um, so instead of you're having to go through these phases where you find your identity in a struggle like fashion, um, because somebody says you are this and you say no, I'm that, but you need that somebody to tell you who you are, because, so that you can tell them no, I am this person, I'm not that person that you said, so that you will know who you are. And that can be um, very damaging to what you need to self-nourish. Um, so you may be drawn, to think about the other polarity of Libra is Aries. And Aries is the individual interest. And this is where the polarity can be good, in the sense of, oh, the Aries says, I am. Um, but then with the Libra, it can be, you are. And the Libra says, no. But then finally, Libra can say, I am, with the polarity of what that other person says. But that can be, um, you know, in an unhealthy dosage, that can be something that creates such huge dependency, because the I am is only relevant to the room of you and that person. You go to another person, you already are a different person. And in an unhealthy dosage, that can be something that is very destructive, um, and there can be even attraction to that polarity. Okay, somebody who will bring their sun into the place of that is more decisive, or it is the exact polarity, can meet you in a way that is rather destructive, because you rely on them for your self-definition. Um, so, and then those practices of breathing into your kidneys, of um, being in a place that is already balanced. Why nature? Because nature is already balanced. Okay, noticing what is already balanced, what is already okay, and being with that, and then you are balanced, because everything is balanced, and so are you. And that does not rely on other people so much. Then that can give you a sense of connection um, that you do need, and a sense of identity that you do need, because if you are at nature, then you are at the human. Okay. um, and so you can have a sort of a self identity that you can take on with you, that is always there, that is constant, um, while you are meeting other people and have that thing that defines you be of the natural world, of something that is actually constant and not of human beings that are so dynamic. And then if you depend your identity on something that is so dynamic like human beings, um, then it's very difficult. And also studying astrology, the the fixed star in Libra is Spica, tropically. And Spica is a planet of eloquence, of success in trade. It's actually a planet who is sidereally Virgo, it's depicted as a woman. And it's 25 degrees Libra. And this is the planet also of diplomacy, um, and kind of being able to make the good decisions, okay, in trade, in presenting yourself in your speech. It's a very lucky star that's considered to have no malefic tendencies when something touches. So perhaps working with Spica um, can be useful to you. I find that in many cases the asteroids, both tropically and sidereally, tend to work with the sign, like or balance some tendencies of the sign. So Spica can be uh, something that you might be interested to look deeper into. Anything more about Libra Sun? Well, you may find that if you know that your caregiver is one of the caregivers that's supposed to provide you with confidence, depending on the aspect, might not be so able to do so. There may be something indecisive or unstable in that person that was supposed to give you that sense of confidence in life. Um, not necessarily. So that can be a bit of a father wound, but doesn't have to be. Um, and again, whatever you grew up with is less the issue as knowing that the sun is also your personality and is an archetype that you find in your chart, and this is something you can work with and something you can nourish and something you can find a solution to. So again, if you go to nature, then you are the only human there, so you can both shine as yourself, be the sun, and be a part of the cosmic order. Um, Wonderful solution for your identity issues. Um, that is Sun in Libra. I'm Shirley Youngblood, and I'm the nude astrologer and Tali here on Twitter, Shirley Youngblood on um, Instagram. I do readings. It's $50 for a reading, and I also um, help you with finding a crystal that is good for you to work with according to the question that you have. Not in any way talismanic and not even remedial to your chart, although I will look at your chart because this is what I do. And that service is $20. So you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram. Let me know in the comments below what house your sun is, if your sun is on Libra. What is your sun sign? Know that this video is recorded when the sun has ingressed into Libra in 2022. So this is October, almost September, but almost October 2022. And my Libra house whole sign is the 8th house. So that may affect the way that I deliver this information. Um, and so, what house is the Sun Libra for you? What house is Libra for you? and you can tell me your personal experience. So make a video about your personal experience and tag me, which I would love to watch. And see you in my other videos. Bye bye.